Stop arguing with gravity. That's my opening counsel to a world shouting, does God exist? Is morality relative? Who has the right to tell me what to do? I'm not joining your shouting match. I'm stepping out of the noise and into the courtroom of law. Write it down. You can ignore a principle, but you can never disagree with it. Tweet that to somebody right now. Gravity does not care about your philosophy. It does not read your blog. It does not ask for your vote. It is... I once told a young activist on a plane, he said, "Sir, I don't believe in absolutes." I asked, "Are you absolutely sure?" He laughed. I pointed to the emergency door at 30,000 feet and said, "Belief is about to meet a law. You don't debate whether the ground will greet your body. You arrange your life around that predictable, pre-existing, non-negotiable reality." That's what I mean by principle. Principles are not personal. They are pre-existing and predictive. They govern outcomes, whether you clap for them or not. You can never disagree with the principle. You can only suffer from violating it or benefit from obeying it. The psalmist said, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day unto day they pour forth speech." Psalm 19:1, 2. Creation is preaching law all day without a microphone. Jesus added, "Until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law." Matthew 5:18. That's immutability. That's predictability. That is stability. Write this next line. Morality becomes stable only when you treat it like law, not like a trending opinion. In a fictional city council, I once advised in my imagination, because some of you need a picture, 12 representatives voted to redefine East as West to help confused drivers feel affirmed. The next morning, the Sun shamed their legislation. Principles don't attend your parliament. They are not swayed by polls, likes, or loudness. They existed before your birth certificate and will outlive your obituary. If your morality requires my agreement to function, it is not morality. It is preference wearing a robe. Romans says God's qualities are clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, and that his law is written on their hearts. Romans 1:22-15. That means there is a moral gravity etched into conscience and cosmos. You don't invent it, you discover it. You don't manage it, you submit to it. Write it down. Principles predict. If you sow them, you will reap their outcomes. If you fight them, you will feel their weight. So let's stop arguing with gravity. Let's stop campaigning against sunrise. From this moment, don't ask, do I like this? Ask, what is the law that governs this? And then align. Because when you anchor conduct to what does not change, your life stops drifting. Now let me lay the foundation so solid you can build a generation on it. Write this down. Principles don't take votes, opinions do. Tweet that to somebody right now. If it needs a vote, it isn't a principle. What is a principle? A principle is a fixed law of reality, pre-existing, predictive, non-negotiable. It is true everywhere, all the time, under every government, in every season. What is an opinion? An opinion is a personal preference, how you feel today about what you like. What is a policy? A policy is a temporary strategy, a management tool we adjust to administer circumstances. Principle is law. Policy is management. Opinion is mood. You can change a policy. You can change your opinion. You cannot change a principle. How do you test it? Universality. If it changes with time, it's not a principle. If it shifts with poles, it's not a principle. If it works in your city but fails in another culture, it's not a principle. Write it. Truth travels. Trends expire. Malachi 3:6 declares, "I, the Lord, do not change." James 1:17 says, "There is no variation or shadow of turning with him." If the source does not change, then the laws that proceed from him do not change. Seasons arrive without your Senate. The tide ignores your timeline. The sun has never attended an election cycle. That's why Jesus said the wise man built his house on the rock. Matthew 7:24. Rock is principle. Sand is opinion. You can be eloquent on sand and still drown. In a fictional boardroom I visited, in my mind, because some of you understand better with a story, the executives voted to extend harvest season by 60 days to inflate their quarterly report. The corn did not attend the meeting. Autumn kept its appointment. Rot answered their minutes. Galatians 6-7 warned them before they wrote the memo. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever man sows, that he will also reap. You can violate a principle, but you cannot veto its consequences. Write that down. You can suspend a student, you can censure a senator, but you cannot suspend a law. The law will suspend you. So here is the line in the sand. If your morality requires my agreement to function, it is not morality, it is preference with a microphone. If your standard must be polled each election, you don't have a standard, you have a survey. Policies must kneel before principles. Opinions must be baptized in law. You manage with policy, but you must anchor management to mandate. You listen to opinions, but you make decisions by principles. Let me ask you a pastor's question with a judge's gravity. What in your life have you placed to a vote that should have been nailed to a law? Your honesty, your fidelity, your stewardship? Lock them in. Fix them to the rock. From this moment, stop negotiating with what does not negotiate. Build your policies under principle. Hold your opinions under oath. Because only what is rooted in law will survive the next storm, the next poll, and the next mood swing. Why do we call the alphabet characters? Think about that. Why not feelings? Why not moods? Because a character does not change. A is A at 2 a.m. in Africa, and A is A at 2 p.m. in Alaska. B is B in a hurricane or in a honeymoon suite. Numbers don't negotiate. One is one, whether you are broke or a billionaire. Write it down. A character is predictable. Tweet that to somebody right now. That is why we teach children characters, because civilization must begin with what does not shift. Now hear me like a father and a coach. That is what character means for you. Character is the unchanging self. Character is sameness under pressure. Character is non-contradiction. Say it with me. Character is simply integrity. The foundation of trust is integrity. Write it down. Trust does not rest on your smile, your sarcasm, or your skill. Trust rests on sameness. If I cannot predict you, I cannot trust you. If you are sometimes honest, you are not honest. If you are occasionally faithful, you are unfaithful. Proverbs 10:9 declares, whoever walks in integrity walks securely. Security is the child of integrity. Instability is the offspring of duplicity. James 1-8 warns, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Double mind, double life, double trouble. Look at the statue in the square. The rain hits it. The sun bakes it. The crowd praises it. The protest mocks it. It doesn't flinch. Statues don't change posture with weather. That is called integrity, oneness. The Hebrews called it one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Deuteronomy 6-4. Holiness is oneness. Integrity is integration. Your words, your beliefs, your private habits, your public claims, one. Write this down. To be holy is to be one. To be corrupt is to be divided. Corruption is internal disagreement with yourself. Character is internal agreement with principle. Consider again the alphabet. A does not need a vote to stay A. The number one cannot be bribed to become 1.5 for the weekend. That is why we call them characters. They carry weight because they are not for sale. Can you say the same? Are you negotiable? Are you for sale? I am not asking about your platform. I am asking about your posture. Hebrews 13:8 says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. That is divine character. If he is the source and he is unchanging, then those who image him must pursue sameness of self. So let me summarize in a sentence you can tattoo on your conscience. Character is the disciplined refusal to contradict yourself under any condition. Write that down. Character is self-imposed law. Character is the weight of your words. And the world will not trust you for your gift until it can predict you by your integrity. Now let me open the blueprint that everything else is printed on. Genesis 1:26, write it down. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion. Order is revelation. Image before dominion. Nature before power. Law before leadership. Tweet that to somebody right now. God did not say, give them dominion so they can develop an image. He said, bear my image, then carry authority. Authority is borrowed from source. If the source is holy, then the authority must be holy. If the source is unchanging, then the steward must be stable. You can never disagree with the principle. Design always reveals purpose. Whether you credit God, nature, or design itself, function is fixed. A fish is built for water. Take it out, and you don't liberate it, you suffocate it. A bird is wired for air. Tie a brick to its belly, and it's no longer poetry, it's a problem. A microphone was not designed to drive a nail. If you use it as a hammer, you damage the nail, the wall, and the mic. Write it down. Where purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Law is simply the manufacturer's mind made into instructions. That's why Scripture calls God's precepts statutes, fixed engravings. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Psalm 89:14. Foundation first, throne second, image before dominion. Power does not corrupt. Power reveals. Write it down. Power is an amplifier. It turns up whatever is already playing in your soul. Put a microphone in the hand of a liar, you get loud lies. Give money to a thief, you fund theft. Give access to an unfaithful heart, you multiply betrayal. Luke 16:10 is a law. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Trust scales on character, not charisma. Proverbs 16:32 adds, he that rules his spirit is better than he that takes a city. Conquer yourself before you conquer a city. If you skip image and seize dominion, the dominion will seize you. Power will kill you without character. Tweet that. Authority must sit on the solid floor of character that reflects unchanging principle. Imagine a skyscraper with a cracked footing. Every new floor is a new risk. Titles stacked on duplicity are simply tall liabilities. Oil on an unclean head multiplies the mess. Influence poured into an undisciplined life creates a wider disaster. Write this on your conscience. Never pursue a position greater than your principles. Never accept a platform your private life cannot carry. So here is your order of operations. Seek the source, absorb the image, codify the laws, then accept the dominion. Make a personal constitution, non-negotiables aligned with design. Honesty is my only policy. Fidelity is my only posture. Stewardship is my only habit. When your identity is integrated to principle, authority will locate you without your hustle. After image, God said, be fruitful, have dominion. Genesis 1:28. Fruitfulness follows formation. Dominion follows definition. Anchor first, ascend later. Because when source precedes power, your future stops drifting and your influence stops destroying. Now, let me give you the architecture beneath your behavior. Write this down. Philosophy produces values. Values produce morals. Morals inform ethics. Ethics produce character. Character becomes lifestyle. That's the cascade. That's the pipeline. Break any link and you will wobble. If values float, ethics drift. If ethics drift, character cracks. When character cracks, lifestyles collapse. Romans 12:2 is the first brick. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Mind first philosophy. Matthew 12:35 adds, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things. Treasure is value. What you deposit in thought becomes your spending and conduct. Let me define it so simply your children can run with it. What is philosophy? Philosophy is your belief system about reality, your conviction of source, design, and purpose. What is a value? A value is what you decide is important enough to protect at a cost. What is a moral? A moral is your personal rule, born from your values, your I do not and I always. What are ethics? Ethics are the public codes we agree to live by together, corporate, professional, governmental. What is character? Character is the unchanging integration of your morals under pressure. What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is the visible pattern of your days that your neighbors can predict. Tweet this to yourself right now. Vision without values is destiny without discipline. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. Vision demands restraints. Values are your restraints. Destiny is preserved by discipline. Listen carefully. Your ethics are only as strong as your values, and your values are only as true as your philosophy. If you secretly believe life is accidental and purpose is self-assigned, don't be surprised when your values float and your ethics drift with convenience. Psalm 119 to 105 declares, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." Principle lights philosophy. Philosophy selects values. Values build morals. Morals write ethics. Ethics reinforce character. Character sustains lifestyle. That's the law of flow. You can never disagree with the principle. I sat fictionally in the boardroom of a startup in my imagination to teach my interns. Q3 arrives. Investors' pressure returns. Their stated ethics promise transparency. But beneath the policy, their values were profit before people because their philosophy was survival of the fittest. They cooked the numbers. The press cooked them back. Don't blame the scandal, blame the sequence. Values floated. Ethics drifted. Character cracked. Lifestyle collapsed. Galatians 6 to 7 stands in the lobby like a bailiff. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Now personalize it. What is your philosophy about truth, absolute or adjustable? Answer that and I can predict your values. Tell me your values, honesty, fidelity, stewardship, and I can write your morals. From your morals, I can sketch your ethics at work. From your ethics, I can forecast your character under pressure. And from your character, I can predict your lifestyle 5 years from now. Guard the top of the cascade. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Anchor your philosophy to principle, not to preference. Lock your values to law, not to likes, because stable lifestyles only flow from value systems anchored in what never changes. Write it down and live it out. Now that you see the flow, let me put a guardrail on your road. Write this down. A principle passes 3 filters: universality, consequence, and transparency every time. Tweet that to somebody right now. This is your non-negotiables filter. Install it in your mind. Use it before you speak, before you sign, before you click, before you meet them at 2 a.m. Filter 1, universality. Ask this: is this right in any country, at any hour, under any pressure? If it is only right when you are tired, broke, famous, or anonymous, it is not right. Truth travels. Trends expire. Forever, O Lord, your word is settled in heaven. Psalm 119:89. Settled means not seasonal. If bribery is wrong in London, it is wrong in Lagos. If fidelity is righteous in your wedding vows, it is righteous in your hotel room. If honesty is noble in the boardroom at noon, it is noble on your tax form at midnight. Write it down. If it's not right everywhere, it's not right anywhere. You can never disagree with the principle. Filter 2, consequence. Ask this: if everyone did this, would society strengthen or disintegrate? Proverbs 14:34 declares, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Imagine a world where everyone lies, contracts, collapse, courts become comedy, trust evaporates. Imagine a culture where everyone takes what is not theirs, markets fail, families fear, locks multiply. Imagine a neighborhood where covenant means nothing, fathers disappear, children ache, futures shrink. Romans 13:10 says, love does no harm to a neighbor. So measure your act by its multiplication. If its universal practice produces harm, it is not a principle, it is a preference dressed as wisdom. Write that down. Filter 3, transparency. Ask this: would I do this if a camera were rolling, if my mother were watching, if my enemies were reading the transcript? Never do anything you don't want anyone to find out about. There is no such thing as a private life. Who are you at 2 a.m.? Jesus said, nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8:17. Integrity is preemptive, publicity live. So exposure is your ally, not your assassin. Before you reply to that message, imagine forwarding it to your spouse. Before you expense that meal, imagine it on the front page with your face. Before you take that meeting, ask if you would sign your name under it and show it to your children. Honesty is my only policy. I sat fictionally across from an investor in a lobby at 2 a.m. He slid an envelope and whispered, "No one will know." I smiled and pushed it back. "Sir, my future doesn't take cash offers at 2 a.m. The integrity of the upright guides them." Proverbs 11:3. Let these three questions guide you. Is it true everywhere? Does it build when multiplied? Can I live it in the light? If your answer is yes, proceed with courage. If any answer is no, walk away quickly. Because when you lock your choices to law by these filters, your character becomes predictably safe and your destiny becomes constructively strong. Choose principle, choose the filter, and live one. Only 3 arenas will ever expose the real you: power, money, and access to sex. Write it down. Tweet that to somebody right now. I have counseled politicians, preachers, and parents. I have watched empires swell and implode. Strip away the headlines and the hashtags, and the autopsy reads, the same cause of death: power, money, or sex. Your character is proven where desire meets opportunity. Not in the prayer meeting, not in the interview, not when you're broke and anonymous character is proven when you can and you think no one will know. You can never disagree with the principle. Let's walk through the triad. Power. Give a person a title, a badge, a microphone, a following, and the soul's content goes on speaker. Power doesn't corrupt. Power reveals corruption. If you need to insult to lead, you were a bully before the office. If your yes changes in the presence of influence, your loyalty was always to advantage, not to truth. 2 Samuel 23 calls David the sweet psalmist of Israel. Yet when power went to the balcony at springtime, it looked at Bathsheba and nearly ruined a kingdom. Write this down. Rule your spirit, or your spirit will rule your decisions. Proverbs 25:28 says, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls. Power tests your walls. Money. Put zeros behind your name and the decimal point won't count if your soul is bankrupt. The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, 1 Timothy 6:10. Money is a tool. Greed is a tyrant. If a bonus can buy your silence, if a deficit can sell your ethics, your convictions are not convictions, they are negotiations. Better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice. Proverbs 16:8. Write it down. Stewardship is not how much you hold, it's how much holds you. Are you for sale? Access to sex. This is the most efficient destroyer of destinies. Joseph and Samson faced the same exam with different answers. Same opportunity, different core. Potiphar's wife grabbed Joseph. The room was private. The offer was urgent. The alibi easy. He left his cloak and kept his crown. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? He said, and he ran Genesis 39:9-12. Delilah stroked Samson's ego until he slept in betrayal. He kept his cloak and lost his crown. Judges 16. Character either governs appetite or appetite governs destiny. Flee sexual immorality. 1 Corinthians 6:18. Not debate it, not manage it. Flee. Write it down. Distance is wisdom. Now I'm going to ask you a terrifyingly simple question. Are you for sale? At what price will you betray your principle? A promotion, a favor, a flight to Dubai, a DM at midnight with a blue check. If a price can move you, your convictions are policies, not principles. Mark 8:36 stands as a judge. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Put a sign on your life. Not for sale at any price. Pre-decide your answers before the offer arrives. Set your ceiling. I do not lie. I do not steal. I do not touch what is not mine. I do not use people. I serve them. When desire meets opportunity, let principle meet both at the door. Because your future will be determined not by what you can do, but by what you refuse to do. Write this last line across your heart. Your character is proven where desire meets opportunity. Now hear the verdict of the court you cannot appeal. Consequences are principled, not personal. Gravity does not get angry when you jump. It proves the law when you land. Write it down. Tweet that to somebody right now. The same is true of finance, fidelity, and speech. The universe is wired with predictable returns. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6-7. Sowing and reaping is not a church slogan. It's a creation statute. Hosea 8-7 adds teeth. They sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. You may choose the seed. You cannot choose the harvest. You are free to choose your behavior, but never free to choose its consequences. Let's bring it home. Finance. Spend more than you earn, and debt is not a demon. It is a decision maturing with interest. Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. That is not a suggestion. That is a law of outcomes. Fidelity. Flirt in secrets. Keep innocent DMs. Let small compromises nest. And betrayal is not a surprise. It is a calendar appointment you set with your habits. Numbers 32-23 stands in the doorway. Be sure your sin will find you out. Speech. Words are seeds. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. James says the tongue is a spark that sets a forest on fire. James 3-6. Gossip today, ashes tomorrow. You can break the command, but you cannot break the consequence. Break the law, and the law breaks you. Public collapses are never sudden. They are simply public. It takes 5 seconds to fall, but years to rebuild. What private drift destroyed. Ecclesiastes 8:11 warns that because sentence against evil isn't executed speedily, hearts imagine they are safe. Delay is not approval, it is investigation. David was forgiven, yet the consequences visited his house. 2 Samuel 12. Write it down. Forgiveness cancels guilt, not gravity. Mercy removes condemnation, not laws of harvest. God will love you through the scar, but the scar remains to preach to your choices. So what must you do? Install cause and effect thinking into your conscience. Before you click, ask, what seed is this? Before you spend, ask, what harvest will this purchase plant? Before you reply, ask, can I live with this transcript? The integrity of the upright guides them. Proverbs 11:3. Do not confuse exceptional rescue with predictable rule. Miracles are not management strategies. Your future is not luck, it is law. Deuteronomy 30:19 announces, I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life. Choice is your power. Outcome is the law's power. Honesty is my only policy. Discipline is my daily seed. Consistency is my harvest. Write it down. Schedule your harvest by sowing your habits. Because when you align with principle, outcomes become your allies, not your accusers, and your tomorrow stops drifting toward avoidable sorrow. Now we bring it into the open where integrity either shines or shatters. Write this down. There is no such thing as a private life. Tweet that to somebody right now. Secrets sabotage strength. Hidden rooms braid hidden rocks. Jesus said, nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest. Luke 8:17. That is not a threat. That is a law. If you must hide to do it, it already owns you. Strength is oneness. Be the same person on stage, online, and alone. Holiness is oneness. Integrity is integration. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Deuteronomy 6:4. If the source is one, his image bearers must live one. Lead with your life. Your conduct must preach louder than your captions. Write it down. Live loudly, not for applause, for accountability. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father. Matthew 5:16. Stop curating a brand. Build a life. A caption can lie, a calendar cannot. A selfie can pretend, a schedule tells the truth. 2 Corinthians 8:21 says, we aim at what is honorable, not only in the Lord's sight, but also in the sight of man. That means make your goodness verifiable. Put windows in your world. Passwords your spouse can open. Budgets your team can read. Calendars your mentor can review. Live so scrutiny becomes your ally, not your assassin. prune vulnerabilities. Write this down. You do not protect destiny with hope. You protect it with habits. Ephesians 5:11 commands, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Exposure begins with elimination. Remove what weakens conviction. That might be a feed you scroll at 11:30 p.m. Unfollow it. That might be a friend who flirts with your vow. Block them. That might be a book on your shelf selling cynicism as sophistication. Throw it out. That might be a bar stool that knows your weight. Drive past it. Better to be thought extreme than to be found exposed. Write it down. Distance is wisdom, not weakness. In a fictional office I supervise in my mind, we replaced opaque doors with glass. One staffer grumbled, "Pastor, it feels like I'm being watched." I smiled. "Good. Now you can relax because you have nothing to hide." Psalm 101:2 is a mirror. I will walk within my house with a blameless heart. Within my house, privately, blameless publicly. Same person in both rooms. Here are your vows. Lock them in. I do not conduct secret conversations I cannot repeat in the daylight. I do not manage money I cannot audit. I do not travel to places my spouse cannot see on my itinerary. I do not keep relationships my conscience cannot introduce by name. Honesty is my only policy. Character is self-imposed discipline. Be one. Be whole. Live loudly. Because integration is insulation. When your life is one life, storms can shake you, critics can circle you, but nothing can split you. Now we legislate our lives. Write this down. Boundaries are bridges to trust. Self-imposed discipline protects destiny. You don't drift into integrity, you decide it and you document it. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. So draft your moral constitution today. Short, clear, and non-negotiable. I do not lie. I do not steal. I do not sleep around. I keep my word, period. Tweet that to yourself. Psalm 15 describes the person who swears to his own hurt and does not change. That means even when it costs you, you keep your word. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. This is not preference. This is principle. You can never disagree with the principle. Character is self-imposed discipline. Say it out loud. Character is self-imposed discipline. You must lock yourself in the prison of your convictions and throw away the key. Not because someone is chasing you, but because your future is worth protecting from the weaker parts of you. Paul testified, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. 1 Corinthians 9:27. That is leadership of self. That is image before dominion. Freedom is never the absence of restraint. It is the presence of righteous restraints. Write it down. Voluntary boundaries are the rails that carry you to your destiny. Now build the architecture. Laws without enforcement are slogans. Install audits. Schedule them. Don't trust memory. Trust calendar. Every Friday at 5 p.m. Financial review with receipts. Accounts reconciled. Budget aligned. Luke 16:2 echoes in the room. Give an account of your stewardship. Every month, externalize a mentor or board. Review statements and asks hard questions. No exceptions. Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron. Sharpening requires friction, not flattery. Financial transparency. Make money measurable. Joint accounts where appropriate. Dual signatures for large expenditures and written policies you cannot privately edit. Remember, we don't manage money we cannot audit. Location sharing. Yes, I said it. Give your spouse or accountability partner visibility. Not because you are weak, but because you are wise. I will set no worthless thing before my eyes. Psalm 101:3. Remove the secret places and secret sins lose oxygen. Communication protocols. No private threads that cannot be read aloud. Emails copied to the right people. Messages archived, not auto-deleted. Never meet in compromising contexts. Glass rooms, open doors, daylight conversations. Schedule mentor check-ins, weekly touch points where you tell the whole truth, not the curated version. Romans 14:12 reminds us, each of us will give an account of himself to God. Practice now for that day. Give an account weekly so you're not shocked eternally. Write this vow across your soul. Honesty is my only policy. I will not outsource my integrity to convenience. I will not negotiate my constitution with opportunity. When your standards are written, rehearsed, and reviewed, temptation meets a locked door. Your family sleeps better. Your partners invest deeper. Your influence stands taller. Because boundaries are not bars to your greatness. They are bridges to our trust. Lock it in, live it out, and let your future rest secure. Now scale it. Principles do not shrink when the room gets bigger. Write it down. Healthy systems are built on law, not popularity. What preserves a person preserves a house, a company, and a country. If gravity governs bodies, law must govern bodies, politics. Tweet that to somebody right now. Home first. Joshua 24-15. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. House is jurisdiction. Said house law. Deuteronomy 6-7 commands us to teach these words diligently to our children. When you sit, walk, lie down, rise up. That's policy, not mood. Proverbs 22-6 says, train up a child in the way he should go. Training is repetition under rule. So write the family constitution. We tell the truth, even when it costs us. We respect bodies and boundaries. We finish chores before screams. Devices sleep in the kitchen, not in bedrooms. Curfew is not a clock. It is trust. The more you prove integrity, the later your liberty. That's image before dominion at home. And when the teenager says, but everybody's doing it, answer with Exodus 23-2. You shall not follow a multitude to do evil. We don't negotiate with hormones. We govern by principle. House rules rooted in law outlive moods and teenage trends. Write it down. Now, business. Proverbs 22-1. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Reputation is capital. Trust compounds faster than interest. Ethics before revenue. Policies cannot compensate for the absence of principles. Don't sell truth for targets. Proverbs 11-1 declares, dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord. That means cooked books are cursed balance sheets. Establish uncompromising codes. No bribes. No hidden fees. No exploitative terms. Conflict of interest. Disclosures. Vendor vetting. Whistleblower protection. Audits that report to independent oversight, not to the fox in the henhouse. Luke 16:10 still rules. Faithful in little, faithful in much. Hire for conscience before competence. Fire profitable deceit. Money is a test, not a mission. The mission is service through your gift. Money follows trust. Write it down. Revenue is a report card. Integrity is the curriculum. Now, government. Principles don't take votes, opinions do. Exodus 23-2 warns again, do not follow the crowd to do wrong. Majorities can legalize foolishness, but they can never legitimize it. Psalm 89-14 says, righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Foundation first, throne second. Proverbs 29-4 adds, by justice a king gives a country stability, but one who exacts gifts tears it down. That's anti-corruption law. Deuteronomy 17:18 requires a king to write a copy of the law and read it daily. Leaders live under law, not above it. Isaiah 33-22 announces the true architecture. The Lord is our judge. The Lord is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. Power separated, all chained to principle. Elections select personnel. Constitution must protect principle. Polls are thermometers. Law is the thermostat. Do not lead by likes, govern by law. So write the House Constitution tonight. Codify corporate ethics and tie them to compensation and accountability. As citizens, demand the rule of law, not rule by rage. Insist on leaders who fear God, love truth, and hate dishonest gain. Exodus 18:21. Post this over your gate, your office door, and your ballot. Law over likes. Because when home, business, and government bow to principle, futures stop drifting and nations stand. You can never disagree with the principle. Now, step into the pivot that changes your posture forever. Write this down. Image before dominion. God never gives power before character. Genesis 1:26. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Image, then dominion. Character, then power. Source precedes force. If you grasp that order, you will stop begging for positions and start building a life that positions you. You can never disagree with the principle. Your gift is your leadership fruit. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Trees don't chase eaters. Fruit attracts hungry people. Tweet that to somebody right now. Write it down. Deploy. Don't just be employed. Employment pays you for time. Deployment pays the world with your gift. Birds don't enroll in flight school. They deploy design. Your gift is the evidence of your assignment, and service is the river that carries it to those who need it. Stop asking platforms to notice you. Serve until problems announce you. Charisma attracts. Character sustains. Your future depends on your character, not your charisma. Charisma gets you into rooms. Character keeps you in rooms. Gifts impress. Integrity secures trust. 1 Peter 4, 10 commands. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Service is the stage. Matthew 20:26-28 sets the law of greatness. Whoever desires to become great among you shall be your servant. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Write it down. You don't seek followers, serve them, and they will find you. Let me make it painfully practical. Identify your gift, what solves problems when you show up. Teach, organize, heal, build, reconcile, design, steward. Now, lace it to principle. Honesty is my only policy. Excellence is my baseline. Consistency is my brand. Show up early. Finish what you start. Tell the truth when it hurts you. Keep receipts for your promises. Proverbs 22:29 declares, do you see a man diligent in his business? He will stand before kings. Diligence is deployment over time. Titles may ignore you today. Outcomes will invite you tomorrow. I sat fictionally in a hospital corridor where a maintenance worker pushed a mop like a surgeon holds a scalpel. Floors gleamed. He greeted every patient by name. He returned lost wallets, cash still inside. He learned the schedule of the nurses and cleared paths before stretchers turned corners. No title, just service. When a winter storm shut the city down, he slept on site, kept generators fueled, and hand-delivered meals to rooms. The administrator took off his badge one morning and said, we need you to run facilities. Promotion didn't change him, it revealed him. Power follows integrity, always. Say this with me. I will lead with my life. Character is self-imposed discipline. I am not waiting to be elected to start serving. My gift is deployed daily. My standards are locked. My outcomes are visible. Write it down. Serve from integrity, and influence will follow without a title. Post this over your desk and your heart. Image before dominion. Gift before throne. Service before status. Because when you deploy your gift under law, you stop chasing platforms and your future stops drifting. Lead now, serve now, and let dominion arrive on schedule. This is the moment where drifting ends. Choose. Write it down. You can ignore a principle, but you can't disagree with it. Tweet that to somebody right now. Gravity does not argue, it governs. Truth does not trend, it stands. Forever, O Lord, your word is settled in heaven. Psalm 119-89. Settled means my moods are not managers of my morals. Jesus closed his sermon with architecture, not applause. Whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock and it did not fall. Matthew 7:24-25. Do then build. Image before dominion. Principle before platform. Character before crowns. So here is your action today, not tomorrow. Number 1, write 5 non-negotiables. Short, clear, unbreakable. I do not lie. I do not steal. I do not touch what is not mine. I keep my word even when it hurts. I do nothing in secret that I cannot defend in the light. That's 5. Yours may differ in wording, but not in weight. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision. Make it plain. Laws written. Direct lives lived. Number 2. Take one big decision on your desk right now and run it through the 3 filters: universality, consequence, transparency. Ask, is this true everywhere? If everyone did this, would the world be stronger? Can I do it with the lights on and the camera rolling? If any answer is no, the meeting is over. Walk away. You are free to choose behavior. You are not free to choose consequences. Galatians 6-7 is not a suggestion, it's a statute. Number 3, text a mentor your standards before the test arrives. Send the 5 vows. Add the filter. Ask for review dates. Let iron sharpen iron on a schedule, not after a scandal. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Safety is not luck, it is structure. There is no such thing as a private life. Build windows into your world. Now lift your head and declare with me, I choose law over likes. I choose principle over popularity. I choose image before dominion. I will lead with my life. I will be one on stage, online, and alone. Honesty is my only policy. Character is self-imposed discipline. I lock myself in the prison of my convictions and throw away the key. Not to limit me, but to launch me. Not to shrink me, but to secure me. Hebrews 12:28 says, we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. If you want what cannot be shaken, build by what cannot be changed. That is the promise. Anchor your life to principles, and your future will stop drifting. So sign your soul to this covenant tonight. Write the 5. Run the filter. Text the mentor. Then get up tomorrow and live loudly. Same man, same woman in every room. Law over likes. Image before dominion. And the God who settles his word in heaven will settle your steps on earth until your outcomes preach what your captions never could. Lead now. Be one. Build what cannot be shaken.